After losing my job with no savings set up, why in the world would I spend the last of our money to fly 1,622 miles across the country to shoot a music video? So if you don't know, in September of 2023, I lost my job, which was 2 weeks before we had already planned and paid our deposit for the Rodeo video release. What's crazy is a month before losing my job, I had a feeling that something massive was finna hit my family. The feeling was so big, I was letting the next man under me know, hey, it's going to be a time very soon and I'm no longer with the company, and kind of asking if there was any areas that he felt like he could improve or that I can help him with, because that's how strongly I felt that a change was finna happen. And I loved the team that I was overseeing, so I wanted to make sure they was in good hands if I was to have to leave. And that actually happened. I was cornered by my manager and vice president of the company and told that they no longer need me with the company anymore. I was literally fired the same day we met. So I'm like, what's this plan? But what really shocked them is I smiled through the whole thing. I didn't curse nobody out like I thought I would if I ever left that place. I wasn't hurt. I was filled with so much peace and joy for this next adventure, to the point that other workers that heard about it or that seen like the aftermath of everything was admiring the way that I handled the situation. Now, mind you, I could care less about that, but I'm glad they were able to hear me talk about God and how I know that God had better things planned for me, and to see a positive perspective from the situation. Another thing that's crazy to me is when I look back at my content around that time, I was literally preaching what I was finna have to live. So I go home to break the news to my wife. Ironically, she tell me that morning at about 5 o'clock, she was woken up out of her sleep with a voice telling her, you need to get up and come pray over your family. God was telling her something was trying to attack her daughter and her husband, and she needed to pray over her family. What's crazy is I remember her walking around the room during that time, but I didn't know what she was doing because in my mind, it was the middle of the night. So I just fell back asleep. And that shows like the covering of a praying woman. So fast forward to finalizing everything for the video shoot, because we can't just turn back now. After taking about a week to process the new change, okay, we're literally finna go completely broke after this trip. I was like, do I even go? Then I was like, no doubt, God got us. So we penny pinched as best as we could, because we didn't have any extra money. It was literally everything we had was going into this trip. I never booked a flight before, so I was during this time watching the flights just go up and up, thinking that eventually it would fall back down, but it didn't. So I had to kind of settle with an acceptable rate. Eventually we committed to a rate, and boom, another curveball. We couldn't go with our plan of buying it on Zip that day, which is, if you don't know, Zip is like you pay a little bit now and then you pay the rest in like 4 installments or whatever. So we try everything, and another day go by, and finally we did figure out how to get it on Zip. We just couldn't get it through Expedia. We had to go through alternate airlines to like book the flight. So we got the flight booked, and now it's time to book the rental car. So we couldn't find any rentals according to the budget we had, because mind you, I didn't have a savings set up or nothing. So I was just taking it one step at a time, starting with the flight, because that was the most expensive. So we find out how to get the rental car booked. Now it's time to get some extra clothes for the shoot. We get some clothes and shoes for the shoot, and tell me why the shoes I bought and the shirt that I had bought didn't fit. So I'm panicking because it's just a few days before we have to leave. So we ship everything back and reorder the shirt and shoes. The delivery day was expected to be literally one day before we leave to go to LA. So whatever came, we already set in our mind that we was just gonna have to rock with it. So everything came and everything was good, thank God. And it's time to drive to Dallas to catch our flight. We get to the airport, go through TSA and everything. Now we wait till it's time to actually get on the plane. We get on the plane, look at the takeoff and everything, and next we catching a few Z's. We finally touched down in Los Angeles. It's time to get our bags and go get our rental. We take the bus from the airport to go get our rental, and that's when I reached in my pocket and realized that I didn't have my wallet. So I'm freaking out because everything was in my wallet. My bank cards, ID, debit cards, everything was in that wallet. So I'm like, we're in Cali with no ID when everything's in my name. Like, I'm like mind blown at this point, but I'm trying to stay faithful. So I'm like, we got to go back. We got to backtrack. So we spent about 4 hours looking through the airport, just backtracking. They said that they didn't see a wallet on the plane when they got in touch with the pilot. So we just trying to see if I might have dropped it anywhere. So we actually had to go through TSA again. But this time we had to go through TSA with no ID. So, or I didn't have an ID. So I had to basically go through a special protocol to verify my identity, got on the phone, had to answer some questions and things like that, which was a whole experience by itself. But I thank God I had pictures of my ID and social in my phone, because that's the only way after all of this transpired that God was able to bless us with a place that would take a photo ID to get a rental. And so we paid the deposit, got the copy of my ID from the picture I sent. So smiling through it all, but inside I was hurt because we wasted about 45 hours of the day that we kind of planned on exploring Los Angeles. But I just knew God had something bigger planned for us, and that this video shoot was going to be amazing, because it was only fitting. Like I literally didn't have anything to lean on but faith. And in the physical, I was exhausted. I know my wife was exhausted too. So we just went and grabbed something to eat after all of that and just called it a night, got ready for the video shoot the next day. So we wake up and get ready to head to the shoot. So we wake up and get ready to head to shoot the music video. When I tell you, this video shoot made everything so worth it. The director was amazing. The model was amazing. The videographer was amazing. Like, the joy of actually doing this video took over. I was on that high the whole time, probably why I stayed sane for as long as I did throughout all the craziness. But when we started shooting and seeing smiling faces, I was lit. Like, the whole thing was lit. Everything was so warm, welcoming, and friendly. It was just the most amazing experience, especially from everything that transpired for us to be going through. I thank Ashley. I thank JohnMark. I thank Dominique. So to answer the first question, when I first started this, I could have used someone from the city to make this video come to life. And yes, I did reach out to some people in the city, Shreveport, although not really knowing many people in the city on a professional level. I just went out for recommendation. I didn't find anyone that matched the energy that I was going for with this specific song and what I wanted for it, because I wanted a movie experience. I didn't just want to be walking up the street waving my hands. I wanted direction. I wanted like the whole movie, like we was creating a movie, which we had from the director, and things set up just like a movie. It was my first ever music video. Although I was nervous about that, the joy and fun of shooting a music video to Rodeo definitely comforted me. It was all meant to go this way. It was all meant to happen like this. The testimony was all worth it. So we could be able to tell this story, the story of staying the course. Don't lose faith. I lost my mind. I lost my job, but I didn't lose my faith. And since I didn't lose my faith, God lifted me up just like he did when I was in far worse situations. God is the same today, tomorrow, and forever. He don't change. We just change how much credit we give him. The official music video release for Rodeo will be featured on CMT.com on Friday, February 16th. Make sure you are ready to run it up. I want this to be the biggest traffic ever brought to their platform, especially from an indie artist. All I want you to do is, when everything go live, go watch the music video from the CMT.com link that I'll post when it actually goes live. I love you so much. I thank you for everything. As one of the greatest artists of all time say, I ain't without you.
That's a wrap on
That's
Rodeo.
a wrap. Can I get a ticket
really
to
good.
your rodeo? Your rodeo. Can you
rodeo?
rodeo?
This song's going to be in my head forever.
Yeah.